Good morning, everyone, and welcome to El Cockerel. It's Jose. It's Monday, the 29th of July, and I'm off work for 2 weeks. Fantastic. I'm so happy to be off work. I'm now chilled. But like with anything, you wake up in the morning with, you're grateful that you wake up in the morning that you're still breathing. But there's no Tottenham news again. Um, at the moment. Well, there's no news that's changed from where we were last night. So I did a show last night with Spurs Diehards, TTID, and nothing has changed since last night. So it was a case of getting on today and trying to utilize this week to try and get people to join the competitions that I'll be holding this season. Um, I'm going to give tutorials for those that don't know how to access and what they need to do. And also the links are in the chat for both the online predictions and for the Fantasy Football League. Some of you haven't done this before. Sorry, some of you haven't played the online predictions before. And some of you haven't done fantasy before. So I'm going to give tutorials whilst I'm here to people to help them along, aid them in what they need to press and what they need to do in order and to make them understand on how things work. And then if we get people that enter, then all well and good. The last time I looked, I think we had 14 in the predictions and 19 in the fantasy. Yeah, we'll wait and see. So let me say hello to a few people. So Scott says, I have joined the fantasy league and the predictions competition. So Scott Colliver is in. Carl, hello Carl. Good morning to you, mate. Says good morning, Jose, and everyone in the chat. And then he further says, I think it's going to happen shortly. Just got a feeling. This is all about signings. And Barry, good morning, Barry East Hope says apparently Chiesa is on his way, guys. And Carl Simpson says down to us and Chelsea for Chiesa. And we've got Danny Talk Sports here saying smash a like and subscribe, please. Good morning, Danny. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're well, Danny. I hope you're well. With the Chiesa stuff, and Adrian Shear, I have joined the Football Premier Mini League. Fantastic, Adrian. I know that you're in, but let's see if we can get you onto the online predictions as well. With the Chiesa deal, with the Chiesa, right? I'm a bit torn in the sense of what we're listening, what the FTK or the ITKs are saying out there, because you got Alistair Gold saying. Ali Gold is saying that we're nowhere near, or he's not on our list, and stuff like that. But then you've got all the Italian journos saying that Tottenham have inquired about Chiesa, and then you've got the links coming out yesterday to say that Chiesa is meeting Motta, who's the new manager at Juventus. Chiesa is meeting Motta today, and whilst he's meeting Motta today, his agent flew over to London last night to talk to two prospective clubs, and one of them they said is Chelsea, and the other one obviously is Tottenham. Now, with anything, yeah, we just want to see signings, don't we? And until they got the shirt on, until we get the here we goes, they got the shirt on and they're at Tottenham Hotspur way, or they're at the on the tour, then we've got to take a lot of things with a pinch of salt. I mean, we've been led down the garden path by the ITKs since April. We've been linked to over 400 players, and as I keep saying, people that keep hearing me, you'll be bored of me repeating myself, but I keep talking to people and saying it's the AK-47 effect. You've got people going out there on AK-47, spraying bullets, hoping that one hits. Now, at the end of the day, it's been so quiet, and no news has leaked from Tottenham Hotspur at all this season during this transfer window, and it begs me to think that we really, really, really don't know who we're after and who we're not after. We got Postecoglou's comments the other day saying that all the targets that they'd identified are still on the table and we're still actively going for them. but there's a domino effect, so you've got to wait for other clubs. Now the domino effect could be what, and I'm hoping. Sorry, I'm going to go back. I'm hoping that the domino effect, not even the domino effect, the fact that we haven't bought anyone as yet, and with FFP, PSR, which I think is a load of crap, but after the 1st of July, the new books kick in, and therefore after the 1st of July, you're free to go and sign whoever you want, really, because PSR finished on the 30th of June, and it runs from the 1st of July to the 30th of June. So basically, after the 1st of July, we could have gone and done any business we wanted to. Now, because we haven't done any business with regards the big signings apparently that we were going to make with money spent, it tends me to think, and if it isn't this way, then I'm just going to put my hands up in the air and think, what was it all about? It leads me to think that it could be that some of the players we might be looking at were involved in either La Copa America or in the European Championships. That's the only way that you can look at it, because otherwise we should have been in and active before then. But yeah, it remains to be seen. That's one that we're going to have to look out for. Barry Easthope saying, not sure about him, injury prone. Barry, what I will say about Chiesa is Chiesa played 31 times last season for Juve, scoring 9 goals with 2 assists. He played more games last season than Neto did. So it looks like because his injury was the year before that. So it looks like he's coming back from his injury because he actually got minutes last season for Juventus. So with him, you'd like to think that you've got to look at the quality of the player, and is he worth taking a punt on for, what is it, £25 million or so? And in my mind's eye, I would turn around and say, yeah, of course he's worth a punt at that price. He has to be worth a punt at it. So it remains to be seen. I think like Carl says, things will happen this week. So yeah, you just want it to happen sooner rather than later. Carl says Chiesa has got all the crap like Dybala had with his agents and commercial fees. Kels, good morning. Kels says, good morning, everyone. Hope you're all well. Good morning, Kels. How are you? Carl Simpson then says, all our targets are available, so I won't panic just yet. I think we are getting 2 or 3 quality players in. I hope so. But to me, and Barry Easthope says, if he is fit, he is worth it. Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. And as I said, he played last season, Barry. So I'm hoping that he's over the major part of his injuries, because on the comeback, it's not just about the injuries he's had; it's the recovery and the recuperation time thereafter. And I think that he had a lot of recovery last year, in the sense that he played 31 games, so that bodes well for him. Carl says it's 100% worth a punt. Chiesa is quality. We paid 60 plus for Dombele, so we will survive. Spurs are loaded. Go on, Carl. I like Carl. You are so positive. It's brilliant. I love it, because today is a really, really sunny day. The other thing I was going to say, anyone in the UK that's watching this, please stay safe. Keep hydrated, because we're certainly in for hot weather today. But tomorrow is even hotter. So I think tomorrow they're saying it's going to be the hottest day of the year so far. Tomorrow. So keep hydrated. Anyway, back to what we was talking about. Unless people put stuff in, is we have 3 games this year. First one is online predictions, and here is the there's 2 ways. On my community page, I've got this on my community page as well, which is easy. It's got the link and the code you can join for online predictions, and I've also got a fantasy football league, which is the links there and the code is there, but it's on my community page as well. And the third game that we're playing next year is going to be the usual predictions, where I do them on a Friday, and then I get my pen, paper, calculator, and Excel spreadsheets and do it all manually. But there's 3 different games. Now, I did say that I'm going to give a tutorial on this as well, so please bear with me. predict the football. Let me see if I can find predict the football first. All right. So with the predict the football, you go into the link. If this works, which it should do. There we go. There we go. And then stream it to StreamYard. All right, so it's just all of a sudden it's gone completely slow. Why is it slowed down? There we go. All right, present. All right, so with the predictions league, you use a link, and once you use the link, it will take you to the predictions league, which is just as thus. Bear with me a second. Right, so there we go. Oh, we've got 2 people join. Oh, who's the 2 people who've joined? Scott Colliver must be one of them. And it may well be Lee Smithy Smith that's joined as well. So we've got 16 people there. All right, so with this, you go into the predictions. It's like loading up at the moment. Predictions, here we go. It's not coming up. So with the predictions, right, what you do is you go in to the predictions and you end up putting in your fixtures. The fixtures are there, sorry, automatically. Right, week and predictions. Right, the fixture list will appear, and then what you do is you go into your the match itself, and you just post in what yeah, you post in what you think the scores are going to be in each of the games. Now, the difference with the online one is, or the beauty of the online one is that you can change your score line anytime up until the game kicks off. Yeah. So you can, if you, let's say for argument's sake, the first game is on the 16th. It's a Friday. The Premiership kicks off, and the first game will be Man United versus Fulham. So you can go in and you can go in, and what you do is you predict your score. Let's say I said 2-0 to Man United against Fulham, 2-0. What ends up happening with this, which is different to the way that I did it in the usual one that I do, is that you score points for the correct score, but also you score points for the right score. So if it was 2-0, I think you score 5 points, and then you get extra points for the goals scored, right? But with the if the score finished 4-1 and you've inserted 2-0, you get points for the 2 goals that you got right, you predicted right, because they scored at least 2. But then you get minus points for the 3rd and the 4th goal and the fact that Fulham scored 1. So it's kind of a weird way of doing it. But they've got a 4 and assist, 4 and against, and then there's a goal difference. So you actually get bonuses. So it actually takes goals off you or gives you plus goals depending on what result you've put in there. And there's a bonus system, and then also gives you points. Yeah. And for some reason, the fixtures are not coming up for me, and I'm just wondering why. So the fixtures are not coming up. Okay, but that is the predictions league. So if people went into that further up, and it's also on the community page. So if you go to the community page, you'll find that it's there as well. Yeah. So at the moment, we still have one. I'm so slow today. Have I got too many things opened up? All right. There we go. So you've got 16 here. So that's that one, right? And then we also have the Fantasy Premier League. And with that, again, it's in the chat. So if you, and it's also on the community page, but if you share screen, I'll show you again. These are for the people that haven't done it before. It's just to help you guys out. So what you first do is you first go to the Fantasy Premier, and what your first thing to do is you need to pick a squad, right? So mine's a dummy run because you can change your squad anytime before the kickoff of the season. But in your squad, you get £100 million to spend, and you have to. This is a prerequisite: is you have to buy 2 goalkeepers, you have to buy 5 defenders, you have to buy 5 midfielders, and you have to buy 3 attackers. You can only pick 3 players from any one team. You can't put any more than 3 players from any one team in. Now, bearing in mind the transfer window is still open. So let's say, for argument's sake, if you felt that Eze was coming to Tottenham, because I don't know how this works. If you felt Eze or Tony were coming into Tottenham and you decided to buy them now, they'd be at their respective clubs, which would be Brentford and Crystal Palace. However, their kit will change if they were transferred to another club. Then their kit changes. So if you had 3 players of Tottenham already in your team, and we bought one of the players that's playing for another team, and they're already on your squad pick, I don't know how that works out. To be honest to everyone, I don't know how it works out. But looking at this, I'm going to go. Once you've done that. Although no, I'll show you in a minute. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, because we all support Tottenham here, or the majority of us do. I'm going to go to Tottenham, and on the right hand side, this is the value of all the Tottenham players. On the right hand side, you have Vicario, Austin, Forster, and Whiteman as the goalkeepers. That's how it stands now. That's providing that none of these players leave the club between now and the start of the season. But it can all change. And then defenders, you have Pedro Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogie, Reguilon, Davis, Emerson Royale, Dragusin, Phillips, and Spence. That could change, yeah, but that's how it is at the moment. And in midfield, we currently have Son, Johnson, Kulusevski, Maddison, Sarr, Lo Celso, Werner, Bissouma, Bentancur, Skip, Solomon, Brian Hill. So when Brian Hill was announced, then Brian Hill will know. I don't think we'll be able to be selected anymore. And then you've got Bergvall. And then up front, you've got Richarlison, Villis, Scarlett. And the new players that they've put in are midfielders. They've now put Divine in, and they've put Gray in. So, it's there. The points that are scored, right, for your players, and I can't remember all of them, but your goalkeeper gets bonus points. You get bonus points if your players play at least 60 minutes of the game. So you get an appearance point, if your players play at least 60 minutes of the game. Your goalkeepers score points for keeping clean sheets, saving penalties. They get minus points. I think anything after 2 goals conceded is minus points. And I think if a penalty goes against you, you get bonus points as well. Defenders, again, if you play 60 minutes of the game, you get an appearance point. You get clean sheet bonus as well for defenders. You get an assist. So I think if you assist someone, you get 2 points. And if a defender scores, I think a defender scores, it's either 5 or 6 points for every goal that they score. Midfielders, again, you score a point if you play for 60 minutes. I think there's also a clean sheet bonus with midfielders. And then midfielders score 5 points for every goal they score. And obviously you get 2 points for every assist as well. Forwards don't get a clean sheet bonus. Forwards will get a point for every 60 minutes. If they play 60 minutes, you get an appearance point. And they score 3 points per goal, 2 points per assist. Now, it doesn't matter what player you've got. A player will score points for, a player will get minus points if they miss a penalty, right? So if you miss a penalty, you're going to get minus points. And then as you go, you end up scoring points as you go along. The calendar is always there as well, so you can see what games are being played for that first week. So that's game week 1. So you can see all the games that are being played. So it's quite simple to play. Now, once you've picked your team, you go into League Cups, right? You go into create and join new League Cups, and then you press that, and then you go into join a League or Cup, and then it says join Invitational League or Cup, and then it says enter the code. So the code's in the chat, and the code's on the community page. You enter that, and that will take you straight into the league. The league is called Hotel Cockerel, and at the moment we have, oh look, we've got more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I've had 2 people join last night. So you've got Johnny Sanchez. Johnny Sanchez has joined, but he's pending moderation, so it means it's waiting for his team name to come up. We have Kevin Clark, who's called his team's called Placeholder. Rob Belcher's in. He's called We Used to Win Stuff. Adrian Chia is in with Anja Manager. Dragon D's Nuts is Brendan Tull. My wife has got G'day Kōbe. You've got me as Hotel Cockerel above, and it's got me again. And the reason why it's got me again is because I've got my own personal one account other than the Hotel Cockerel one. So it's got me in here twice. Joris Wouters, who's the Belgian Hotspur, has called his team Belgian Hotspurs. Graham, for people that know Graham Clutterbuck is called Spurs GCTV, so he's going by his screen name. Chris Peters is gone, and his team's called Earn Your Spurs. Graham Dunn, his team is called 99 Problems. Jamie Imber his team is called Nothing Else Matters. So Jamie Imber is both Jamie Imber and he's also Talking Tottenham TV. Ian Greenwood has got a team called Woody Clarets. Ronnie, who's in the chat, hi Ronnie, his team is called Ronsky. Collins from Talk and Ball, you all know Colin. Colin's team's called Off to Grandma. James Corley has called his team by his channel name and his name that he goes by, James Loves Spurs. Carl, who's in the chat, has called his team The Quad Is On FC. Scott M, who you all know in the chat, his team is called Happy Clapper FC. Nathan Pye, I know him as, but he's here. His full name is Nathan Patisse, but Nathan Pye, who's quite often in Jacobs, United Spurs of America. So Nathan's come from there, but he's also a subscriber to this channel, but he's called With a Packet of Sweeps. And then Scott Colliver, who is in Australia, who was the first person to comment on today's stream, he's got a team in there called Hopes and Dreams. So with that, like I said, everything is easy peasy to join up. You've got the links in the chat. So there's the online predictions one, but you can find all this as well on the community page for Hotel Cockerel, and the Fantasy Football League is also there with the link and the code to get into fantasy football. So that's the two games that we'll be doing online. And as I said, the third game, I'm going to do the traditional one where I do all the work and we do shows on a Friday. It went down quite well last season. People have asked would I continue it, so I'm going to do it. The other two, it's just work that I don't need to do because it's all done automatically. You do the work, and that the only one that I need to do the work on is the Friday shows that I'll be doing predictions on. And I'm going to think about how we present, or how I present the updates for Fantasy Premier and the online predictions, because the one thing is it's self-serve, so you'll all be able to see what you're doing. You know, it's I don't have any involvement. You'll all be able to see what you're doing. So it's just, so how do I fit it into shows? Barry Easttype has said, sorry Barry, said Kaiser would be a better fit than David. I don't want Jonathan David. I don't want him. If he's the one that that they're set on, then so be it. Because they obviously get paid the big bucks to make these big calls. But I don't see it from what I've seen so far. It might be that I'm being harsh and too judgmental on the chap, but from what I've seen of him, he's not the player that I'm going to say to myself, do you know what, he's going to get 25 goals a year. I'm not sure whether Jonathan David is that man. Scott Colliver says, yeah, I joined a little while ago. AJ, good morning, mate. Says, big up, Jose, my man. How are you doing this bright, beautiful morning? AJ, I'm cool, man. I'm fine in the sense that I'm off work now for 2 weeks. So today's my first day. And what happens on your day that you're off? You end up getting up early. You didn't even get a line, got up early. So, yeah, it's a bit of a mad one. And yeah, Ronnie, you're right. Ronnie's here. Says, pick up Jose. I'm in both competitions. In other news, 30 years ago today, we signed Jurgen Klinsmann. And that is correct. We did sign Jurgen Klinsmann 30 years ago today. Amazing, isn't it? Just how time flies. Excuse me, sorry. So, yeah, it's absolutely, yeah, I remember Mr. Klinsmann turning up in a Volkswagen Beetle to the ground. Turned up and it looked like an old retro Volkswagen Beetle, and he turned up to it on the ground 30 years ago today. And these were the days when we didn't have social media, shitter, and everything like that, whereby everybody believes they know something and everyone peddles their crap out there. These are the days when, you know, at the end, just came, didn't know that coming. Let's face, we didn't know we were getting Jurgen the German. We didn't know that at all, right? We didn't know we were getting him at all. And then he turns up on, as I said, in his Volkswagen Beetle. So, yeah, it's just absolutely madness. I mean, I remember when we signed Rafael van der Vaart, another player we knew nothing about, had no links with beforehand, and all of a sudden he was a Tottenham player. On the last day of the window, he became a Tottenham player. So, you know, at the end of the day, we're ruined by social media. Ruined by social media, because with social media now, everybody believes they know something more than the other person, and in order to gain traction, some people peddle falsehoods out there, and some of us follow the falsehoods, and it leads us to the false sense of security that we're going to get A, B, C, and D. So yeah, I'm just looking to see if there's anything on Shitter as we speak at the moment. And as I said, to me, there isn't much there that's different. What's this one, Alistair Gold? Alistair Gold, realising really fascinating chat I had with Dejan Kulakowski. You spoke about how Ange Postecoglou has changed training sessions with challenging at the top in mind. how he must change his own game for the Spurs boss, and how Lucas Bergvall can become a star. Did you want? No. So the news yesterday was all about what's this one saying? So for a fact for you guys, did you know that our Tottenham coach Sergio Raimundo, who's come, he's one of the boys that was managing over at Hibs and managed over in the J League, or managed over in the Australian League. Tottenham coach Sergio Raimundo knows 6 languages: Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, French, English, and German. He also says he knows a little bit of Wolof, which is a West African language. So this guy can compute in 7 different languages. And let's face it, we're becoming a multicultural team with lots of different nationalities within our team. So the fact that he can cover nearly all of them, God, don't half help. Although you need to be speaking the mother tongue, which is English, when you're playing in the Premiership. So the quicker you can learn English, the better. But the players that we've brought in, Bergvall knows English because obviously being from a Scandinavian country, knows English. And obviously Gray knows English as well. And so does Werner. So the 3 we've brought in at the moment, there are no language barriers and language problems. So, yeah, and the players that we're being heavily linked with, the more the English players, they're not going to have a problem with the English barrier either, are they? So, yeah, we had the news yesterday with regards Emerson. So with Emerson, it's believed that the gap has been narrowed now for his for the fee has been narrowed. So AC Milan and Tottenham have narrowed down on the fee, and I think I read somewhere yesterday or heard somewhere yesterday it's an 18 and 2, so 18 million euros and 2 million in add-ons. But the belief was that the add-ons that had been put in there were entirely unachievable, and therefore Tottenham didn't agree to the add-ons, is what the comments were that I was reading yesterday. So someone's put in the team. Tell me what you think of this, guys. This is the team that someone says should start the season. Right, so you've got Vicario in goal, the doggy at left back, Van der Ven, Romero, Porro at right back, and then in midfield you'd have Gray, Maddison, and Eze. Left wing Son, right wing Neto, striker Tony. Does that team get you off your feet? So that means that the 3 players are talking about coming in would be Neto, Eze, and Tony. Does that get you off your feet? I mean, I did make a comment yesterday, and I said, and I've said it for a week or 2 now. Although I've changed the 3 players, right, and I have been changing the 3 players. But if you had to go sleep tonight, would you sleep easier knowing that you've got Chiesa, Tony, and Neto as your forward 3? Would you sleep easier seeing that you've got Son, Tony, and Neto? Would you sleep easier knowing that you had Son, Tony, and Chiesa? Do you see what I mean? When you start saying some of these names, if they do come in, then all well and good. But when you start saying some of these names, your forward line dramatically changes, and it brings you a breath of fresh air, and it kind of lifts you straight away. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see who comes in, hoping that they come in this week, but who comes in. But wouldn't it help big time if you could bring players in and improve that forward line? Because I think, like many will say that the forward line don't excite. But people will say that defensively, we've got loads of players defensively, where I still think that we're underselling ourselves in defence, because what you've got is you've got your main 4 at the moment, right? So you've got your main 4 at the moment who played last season, okay? And then apart from the 4 that you've got from last season, you've got Dragusin, who's cover for, I think he's cover for Romero, because he's right-footed, Dragusin. So my belief is cover for Romero. You've got Jed Spence, who will save us an absolute bundle of money, who can be cover for, well, not cover, but can fight for a spot with Porro. On the left-hand side, we're still a bit light, because you've got a doggy at left back and you've got Van der Ven at left centre half. If you're not going to bring another centre half in, Ash Phillips has got to be the person that battles Van der Ven. But then you've got no one on the left-hand side, and this is why I was saying that Donnelly has been so versatile and looked comfortable and inverted. He's inverted fantastically in the 3 games that he's played so far in pre-season. So for me, yeah, he could be the cover there. In midfield, look, we've got so many midfielders, it's beyond belief. But where I see the problem lying is when we look at our forward line, and you can compare it to anyone you want, or don't have to compare it at all. But when you look at the forward line and you're saying to yourself, well, we've got Son, Solomon, Werner, Richarlison, Johnson, and I'm going to say Kulusevski, although Kulusevski's not. Kulusevski's better for me in the middle and provides more in the middle for us. It doesn't excite, and it doesn't, you're not going to bring out the fanfare to that. So therefore, it is our forward positions that need changing big time, or that needs improvement. But yeah, that's where I see. I need the 3 players we need to come in have got to be attacking players, bare minimum. Then after that, what you then need to do is you need to. So after bringing in these players that we're saying we're going to bring in 3 players, we then need to look at the market and see whether there is an opportunistic signing that comes later on down the line. Yeah, and that's exactly where we stand at the moment. So we're looking to bring 3 players in, supposedly. Although I think we might need more. But we might need more. But what we're trying to do, it's really hard, because we're trying to balance that with the youngsters that we've got coming through, so they've got a pathway. So it's a fine line. The one thing is that Postecoglou and his team, and when I'm saying his team, it's not just his 3 his coaches, but Langer, Mung, and all that. They've got to seek paths for what they want this season with the team, and that will include the youngsters. And it's like, who you're going to keep around that goes into your B squad, because some of these players, it's not worthwhile keeping them in the under 21s or the under 18s or anything like that anymore. It's worthwhile keeping them in and around the first team, but it's who do you keep in and around the first team and not obstruct their pathway, and also who then do you loan out to Championship clubs, League One clubs, League Two clubs, or foreign clubs? Although I'd prefer these players now to stay in England, if I'm honest. I think that they should have their loans here rather than abroad. And then after that, it's what players go back into the academy system. So we know that Noel John and Iago Santiago were the 2 unused subs in the first pre-season friendly against Hearts. Thereafter, they haven't appeared again. Since then, they haven't appeared at all, right? Yeah, they haven't appeared at all now for Tottenham. They went back into the under-21s, and in the under-21 games, they ended up playing in the under-21s. So that they've now played for them. Although, in saying that, I thought Noel John and Iago Santiago were both 21 now. So I don't know how much more they've got, or how much more longer they probably can continue on the 21s for a further season. But I don't think they can be under 21s anymore next year. And then out of the players that we've got at the moment, it's who and what pathways do these players all end up getting, and that will be a conundrum and a puzzle that will be solved by the team at Tottenham, or that's being solved now. So people are ready, so they know what they're going to start with and then what they're going to go with. I mean, you've got a lot of the scholars, first year scholars and first year scholars that have now come into the under 18s team. So that's going to bulk the under 18s team out. And then some of the under 18s, like last year, so the under 18s won their league the year before last, and a lot of them players stepped up from 18s to 21s. So we in the under 21s we had a very young under 21s team, because a lot of the 18s that won the year before ended up getting up, going into the 21s, and then winning the 21s as well. So your Tyrese Halls, and people like that, they all played in the 18s and then played in the 21s. So yeah, it remains to be seen. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with the players. Scott, you're saying, is Kulu going to start as our striker in the first game of the season? That would be great, but I highly doubt it will happen. What I will say with that is there's many ways to skin a cat, is what I said yesterday on the show that I was on last night. I said there's many ways to skin a cat. Now, we're all crying for an out-and-out 9, yeah, and that is the fan base is saying we need a 9. Whether Richarlison stays or goes, we're saying that he needs competition and we need a 9, right? However, there's many ways to skin a cat, and I said yesterday you could have a 9, but then you could also have your false 9, because Kulu in the false 9 position plays really, really well. We've seen him play in similar positions for Juve, where he's played as an 8, 9, and a 10 for Juve. And he looks better in an 8 and 9, 10 position, even though it's a false 9, than what he does playing out as a 7 or an 11, which is out wide. He looks much better and more comfortable in the 8, 9, or 10 position. So for me, as I said, there's many ways to skin a cat, and Kulu could be your false 9. How many teams out there play with a false 9? Well, you know, Arsenal have played with a false 9, and they've come close. Teams in Spain play with false 9s. So I'd go as far as to say Ange Celtic, although he had the boy Furiashi playing as a centre forward, to me he was a false 9. He ain't an out and out 9. So yeah, Scott, for me, I don't have a striker, but as a false 9, he just adds another, another way of playing, another weapon, if you like, rather than having an out and out 9. Having a player like that just gives you options. Kels, she says she's joined both the fantasy and the predictions. Thank you very much, Kels, and I hope you have a pleasant season, Kels. Scott says we don't have a lot of defenders. Barry is saying Spence should stay. He is quality, and I agree. He the way he's come back from his loan spell with Genoa, and I don't know whether you've heard me say this before, Barry, but the way that I look at it is that he had problems, right? There's no doubt about it. He had problems before, with regards. Well, there is stories that he had problems with his attitude, and that he had hangers on and family who were getting involved in matters, probably for the right reasons, because it's their child and whatever, but in what they were getting involved in, he wasn't actually then playing football. He was more about the other part. Then we got stories about his loan at Leeds and things that happened at Leeds. But I think when he went to Genoa, he's gone to another country who have a different culture. The hangers-on and his family didn't go out there with him. He was there on his own. He might have had one family member or whatever with him, but he was there on his own. He's gone to the school and the grounding of defensive arts, because it doesn't matter who you play for. The Italians build their teams around having strong defensive qualities, and being able to defend is the way that they play the football. So he's gone out there. He's been shown and coached on defending and stuff. And then he's come back, that coupled with the way that he used to play for Borough, where he played as an attacking fullback or wingback or whatever you want to call it. He's come back, and I think because 3 weeks ago, Genoa and Tottenham 3 weeks ago, Genoa and Tottenham were speaking to each other about selling this chap. So, but then all that's gone quiet now, and it has been quiet, and it was quelled a few weeks ago. So I'm thinking to myself, has he come back and said to Ange Postecoglou, look, I had the wrong attitude, I was wrong in the head, I had issues going on, blah blah blah. But now I've learned since I've been away, and I really think that I can give my all for this club now, and I'm prepared to give 130, 140, 150%. And with that, if that conversation has taken place, then it can only bode well, because his appearances in these 3 pre-season games haven't gone unnoticed. He's played really, really well, and with that, it's also at the start of the transfer window. It's funny because we were linked with Vanderson, and people were saying Vander who? We were linked with Vanderson from Monaco as competition for Porro to bring in at right back. Well, and now everyone was like, who? Now Man United are linked with Vanderson, you know. But anyway, he's come back, he's done well, and he will save us a lot of money in the long run, and he would provide real competition for Porro. There's a lot of people in the community that have said that they believe that Porro should be pushed up further up the pitch. So Spence can play at that position in the right, and Porro should go up to the right hand side and be our attacking player on the right. So to give competition for the likes of Brendan Johnson as things stand now, because we've brought no other players in. So at the end of the day, it bodes well. Suspense has been playing well, and it bodes well. Don't worry about the left-hand side of defence. Skippy is there to save the day. Do you know what? He has his doubters, and he has his hate the haters that don't like Skippy. But Skippy played really well against Vissel Kobe, and I said this on the stream the other day. I thought that he played really well. Didn't put a foot wrong. Position, he was in the right place all the time. Travelled with the ball, came out with it from defence, didn't put a pass out of place. He looked well against Vissel Kobe. Yeah, we all know, and people said to me yesterday, yeah, but the calibre of the competition that we've played against, being Hearts, QPR, and Vissel Kobe. And my argument to that yesterday was, it's not about. It is a little bit, but it's not all about the teams that you've played against, because for me, if you look at Hearts, we played Hearts on the 17th, which was 12 days ago, right? Hearts start their campaign against Rangers next Saturday. So Hearts, in effect, are 2 weeks ahead of us in pre-season, right? So basically, you're measuring your legs against these other teams, and they were 2 weeks ahead of us in pre-season. Then we played QPR 3 days later on the 20th, which was 9 days ago now. QPR kick off their season in just under 2 weeks. So they're at least 10 days ahead of us in pre-season. And then we play Vissel Kobe, who have played 24 league games in the 38 league game season. They've played 24. So they're well into their season. So it's a case of getting minutes into our legs. And that's the reason why we've played these matches, is to ramp up our players to be ready and to be on point, well, as on point as you can be for when the season starts. And that's why in the third game against Vissel Kobe, you didn't see every player, you didn't see every player in the first 2 games. We had an 11 that played the first half and 11 in the second half. That didn't happen outright against Vissel Kobe. Some players got more minutes than others and played more minutes than 45. So, and I've got a feeling this will happen, because you've got to give minutes into all the legs. You've taken 31 players out there, hence why they had to also fit in a game against the Japan under-19s national side for the youngsters, because you've got to get minutes into everybody's legs. You've taken 31 players out there, and then now Dragusin has joined up with a squad. You've got 32 players out there, unless they've sent any back. You've got 32 out there, and you've got to give them all minutes. With Royale, it'll be interesting to see what happens on Wednesday. If he leaves Tottenham before Wednesday, or if he's in the process just about to leave, will they risk him on Wednesday? And I don't think they will. So basically, you're coming down to 31 players. if that's the case. So we'll wait and see. Daniel Quir says, need to start waking up our football club. This is not acceptable. Nearly August and no senior signings. Other than Werner, my patience is running thin. Keep the faith, Daniel. Keep the faith. I keep telling you, keep the faith, boy. AJ, and I hope you're well as well, Daniel. AJ says, I really don't get the hype about Chiesa. 1920, 2021 seasons were his best seasons. With only one of those seasons does he put up better figures than Johnson did last season. That's another thing that people have got. People have got this hang up on Johnson and Werner. But when you look at their stats stack up. Even Werner's stats stack up against some of these so-called wingers. Maybe not. When I say stacks up, I'm talking about GA. He doesn't get the goals, but with his assists and that, and the goals, the little goals he did get, they don't all stack up for minutes played. If you look at minutes played, it stacks up. But then, like a lot of people, people will put in facts and manipulate the facts to suit what their narrative is. So Werner, if you look at his minutes, goals and assists per minutes per game, it's quite good. But if you then say you put him in against somebody that's had an absolute full season, because remember Werner only played half a season last season, but then they put him in against someone who's had a full season, and then his stats may not look as good. Although against someone, I think it was Desiree Doué or someone like that, I can't remember who it was, but someone like that, we did the stats with Ashmatic, and I was a show that I was on with him. I'll tell you what, it was on Kate's charity stream, and I asked a question, and he looked up the stats, Ashmatic, and it was the stats I think for Desiree Doué, and the figures that for Werner and Johnson were a lot brighter looking at them like that. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's horses for courses, and people will use facts to suit their own narrative. So, Peter Kagaya says, hi, all 8:20 p.m. in Melbourne. Hi, Peter. I hope you're well. You're obviously not working at the moment. Do you have work later, or are you off today, sir? Uh, David Clark from Leicester. David, I hope you're fit and healthy, mate. I hope things are better and the warmth out there is doing your bones the power of good. I would be crazy for Spurs not to give Spence another shot at the first team squad. It could save the club money. It's exactly what I said. And then Barry Easthope says, good idea about Porro playing further up. He spends most of his time there anyway. True. David Clark says, Porro is never going to take the place of a winger. Get serious. It's a stupid idea. That just won't happen. Funny that, David, because when he played for Sporting, he played further up the pitch for Sporting than what he does for Tottenham. So he's done it before. He looks comfortable when he's in the attacking third. He can play with both feet. He's prepared to go past the player. He's prepared to cut inside, as we've seen from some of his goals. I don't think it's a silly idea. I think there's actually merit in what people say about him being able to play further up the pitch. I think there's merit there. Peter's saying no, he's off. Well, Peter, have a lovely day off tonight. Well, tomorrow, because you do the night shift, mate. So I hope you have a lovely, lovely day off. Just going to go and have a look at Predict the Football League, see where we are. Because, yep, we've got another person that's joined. So Kells has joined, which is fantastic news. So we've got another person that's joined the league. Yeah, so we've got another person. So they've joined. And we've 17 in that league. And then we have got, I'm trying to see what we got in the fantasy football. I think we had 21 in the fantasy football. Yeah, what's going on with this camera? I think the season. Oh, sorry. Right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So there's still 21. So the fantasy hasn't. Oh, has the fantasy appeared? Here we go. It's updating now, and here we go. Robbie Clark has joined. So Robbie Clark is from Lily White. Lily White Lane has joined, and his team is called hwandaee Jeremy. So he's joined. That's an extra person who's joined. So yeah, the show today was to try and get a few more people to come and join these games. Peter Kagaya says, I think this season the team will be better under the system. What's interesting, Peter, and some people don't talk about this, but what's interesting, right, is that on Shitter and on YouTube, if you look at the Tottenham training videos, that from all the training they've done, even last season you could look at them, but I'm looking at the training sessions they've had out in Japan, the training sessions they're having in Korea, the training sessions they had prior to going out there. Two of the goals we scored against Vissel Kobe, so the Sonny goal and the Mikey Moore goal, both of them goals are reminiscent of what I'm seeing on the training pitch. So, and the other thing is, and I said this on the show last night that I was guesting on, the other thing for me is the youngsters get Angeball. The youngsters get what the coaches and Ange are trying to do. They understand it. They're onto it. They've got no baggage. There's no mental scar in there, and they're able to do it, and they're able to pull it off. So, at the end of the day, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in the season coming up and who stays and who goes and stuff like that. So what we've got is we have the two goals that were scored by Sonny and by Mikey Moore. They're straight off the training pitch. Everything I saw everything we see on the training pitch, them two goals, they could have been scored on that training pitch because that's the way that they were scoring them there. And so to me, whatever they're being coached, because of whatever we're seeing on the training pitch, you're actually seeing it in a real live game situation because it's happened twice against Vissel Kobe. But what I will say is that even though we can see this on a training pitch, right, you could have scouts scouting the opposition, scouting Tottenham, and they all know what Tottenham are going to do, right? And it's the same as the first 10 games last season. Everyone knew what Tottenham were going to do, but you couldn't stop them from doing it. Now, you scout Tottenham and you watch from the training videos, you scout Tottenham. It's the same thing again, right? You know what they're going to do, but they couldn't stop them. They scored the goals anyway. So, at the end of the day, it'll be interesting. It's going to be an interesting season what happens next year. I think that the players have bought in more to the way that he wants to play and stuff like that. So, yeah, it remains to be seen. See what happens for the season coming up. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I did say that I would judge the transfer window on when it closed, and I've got a mop-up show on 30th of August at 11 o'clock, which is when it closes, because by then we'll know. But if we bring in any other players, in between now and the start of the season, then I could probably pass judgment by then. But I've allowed myself till the end of the transfer window. I'm hoping that we bring some more players in, but you know. David Clark says, I still think the only reason that Tony isn't going to sign with Spurs is because he's asking for around 300k a week and Levy won't pay that. I also don't believe that he will pay that either, David Clark. But it's interesting because people say there's no smoke without fire, David, right? And Tony keeps getting linked and keeps getting linked and keeps getting linked. But then so there's other forwards as well that keep getting linked as well. So who we end up getting and who we don't, I don't know. Like I said, it's a scattergun approach using the AK-47 and just firing bullets and hoping that one hits because we don't truly know who Tottenham are going for. We don't, because the same can be said for the outgoing of Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. If we believed everybody in the know, Then Højbjerg was going to Napoli, Atletico Madrid, Galatasaray, Fulham. Marseille were never ever in the equation. No ITK had fired their gun and said Marseille. All of a sudden, Marseille come up 24 hours. 24 hours later, he's a player. He plays for them, right? Archie Gray. Archie Gray. No one said Archie Gray. No one was talking about Archie Gray. Archie Gray gets talked about 24 hours later. Bosh. He's a Tottenham player. Langer operates differently, right? And it appears that no leaks are coming out from the club. It seems to be that tight a unit at Tottenham that the leaks ain't coming out. Not like they normally do or they used to do. They're not coming out, and we end up buying a player that no one even thought we were going to get. Same can be said for last season. Although we were under Don Paratici last season, the same can be said for when we signed Vicario, when we signed Van der Ven. You know, Vicario, no one had Vicario on their lips at all. 24 hours after the link was made, he was already signed. So practically signed before the link came out. And when the link came out, 24 hours later, he became a player. Van der Ven, we were led to believe it was going to be Tapsoba last year. Tapsoba was the one that we were all in for. We were all going after Tapsoba. And then in the end, we ended up with Van der Ven. I don't think the in the nose know exactly what's going on. And when you've got people like Romano, Plettigol, Paul O'Keefe, Matt Lord, Ben Jacobs, you've got all these guys, and none of them can pinpoint and put a name to a player because they can't, because they don't know themselves. They haven't been told, they haven't found out. Their whisperers haven't told them anything at all. So therefore, the only people that know what business we're going to be doing is Tottenham internals themselves, and nobody else knows. Peter Kagaya says Chelsea 4, Chelsea 1, lol, the remnants of Angel. I won't pay that. He's not that good, and I think he's referring to Tony. But yeah, Chelsea saw that. It was interesting because I read a quote from somebody. It was Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers said he read a quote from Brendan Rodgers, and he said Enzo Maresca sets his team up too, and he said that he sets his team up to play as a 4 at the back, but one will attack, and then when one of them attacks, it makes their defense becomes a 3, and that what they try to do is they try to put all their players, their forwards, in the box, not out wide, and that they try to put their forward line in the box. So he was kind of saying what the blueprint was for what Chelsea is trying to do under Maresca. But yeah, I mean, starting out, so people have got to put it into context. Celtic start their league next week. Chelsea are 2 weeks away from starting their league. Or when this game was played, so we're a week away from starting because it's next weekend, and this was played at the weekend. And yeah, and that would make us 3 weeks away. This weekend just gone would make Chelsea 3 weeks away from playing. So, you know, it's horses for courses. Yeah, you've got to get minutes in your legs, like I said. And I've been saying that about Tottenham. So it'd be rude for me not to say exactly the same about Chelsea, because Chelsea kick off the league at the same time as what we do. So, you know, at the end of the day, yeah, but this result wasn't a very good one, was it? You've got David Clark saying Dragosin is back and we'll get 1/2 against Munich. I don't know. He may. I don't know. He may well get. I don't know. Will he get a start against the K1 League team? Will he get minutes? Quite possibly. Peter says they will get fitter and better. Look who it is. It's Chang. Chang, I haven't seen you in a while, my friend. I hope you're well. He says, super chat saying, buzzing for tomorrow's birthday stream, Jefe. Come on, you Spurs. Thank you very much, Chang. Very kind of you. Guess who appeared yesterday and became a member yesterday of LTEL and also popped into Spurs Diehards show yesterday? Ash P, Chang. Ash P is back. She now has internet. So Ash P is back. She's amongst the living. So she's resurfaced, and we're really, really happy that she has. So there might be some collaborations going on now that Ash P has returned. But I just thought I'd let you know. But thank you for the super chat, Chang. Much appreciated. Peter Kagaya says, they say Angie's naive, lol, and a one-trick pony. Premier League too big. Your national team is the mirror of your league. David Clark says, Harry Kane, now 31 years old and still without a trophy, yet far lesser players have left our club and gone on to win trophies. I think he has had a spell put on him. Peter says, once implemented properly, it is hard to defend against. Goals will come from everywhere. Proven last season, 14 individual scorers. David Clark says that Jimenez will be our striker in his opinion. And Peter saying, worst thing Kane has done is leaving. Very silly move. Right, for the people that haven't done so already, just going to repeat again that we have got 2 further competitions going on. And the link is there in the chat for the online predictions league. And with the online predictions league, I'm going to be running 2 predictions. One is the online one, right, which means it's self-serving. You do it yourself. But also we'll be running. I'll be running the normal one on a Friday. That's a load of work for me. I'm going to be doing that as well. But we're going to be running an online predictions team league. It's easy. All you do is you enter. You go and you just put that week. So it's self-serving. You do it all yourself. And the beauty of that game is that you can change the scores as and when you see fit. So where I'm saying that is, if you think, I keep talking about Man United because they're the first game, right? Let's say I went for Man United nil. That's Man United 2, Fulham nil. You have up until the minute that sorry about that. I don't know what's happened there. It's Gremlins. They just threw me out completely. Yeah, I was just saying for the predictions league. Yeah, it just means that that you score certain points and that, but it's self-serving, so I don't have to do nothing about it. You'll be able to see where you are. you'll be able to see in the league where you are. So it's a self-serving one, and it's down for yourselves to run. I won't have to run it for you, which is quite good. And then we've got right, so that's that predict the league. But then you've also got the fantasy football league, which I'll be running as well. So that is the predictions league. Please bear in mind you can find the information on the community page as well. It's simple to sign up. It's just you go in. It's signing up is simple. Just add that code and you're in. And then obviously the fantasy football league is for people that don't play it and don't know it. It's you get points. You score points for players that play matches, goals that are scored, assists, clean sheets. You get bonus points if your players have played really, really well, and that. And with the fantasy, it's there as well, and it's in the community page, right? So all you need to do is you go into the community page or the link that I've got there. Just enter your team. Pick your team first. Sorry, always pick your team first, and then enter the league. And then all you do is you add that code, and bang, you're in. You're into the league. So you've got that there as well. And at the moment, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 entered. So yeah, the more people that can enter, the better it will be, and we can have a laugh because with the community, you all know each other, and as you all know each other, you'll end up, you can test yourself against other people. Good afternoon, Mark. This is Big Up Jose in the chat. I hope you're well, Mark. Keep hydrated, mate, because it's a hot day today, but even hotter tomorrow. So the online predictions, there is a link in the chat. There's also a link for the Fantasy Football League, and that can also be found on my community page as well. And then also as well pinned to the chat is the link to become a member if you so wish and you're that way inclined. With that, there's no further news coming out of Tottenham at the moment. Tomorrow, it's my birthday. So I'm doing a birthday stream tomorrow. It's my birthday. And I'm off work at the moment. So today's my first day of being off work. So tomorrow, I'm going to do a birthday stream. And then after doing a birthday stream, I'm going out. My daughters and my wife are taking me to go and play crazy golf. And then I'm going to go out for either a lunch or an early tea with my wife and my two girls. My other kids are all a lot older. So I saw my son yesterday and his girlfriend, and my two granddaughters. They came up to see us yesterday, pre-birthday. So went out with them, had fish and chips along the coast and on the beach, and then we took them trampolining. We took them to the parks. We took them to the fun fair. So a great day was had by the family, and as I said, tomorrow I'm going to do a birthday stream. I'm going to give myself some love. Personally give myself some love. So so that's what we've got to look forward to tomorrow. I think tomorrow's show is at 11 in the morning. Mark's birthday's on the 31st. Mark Cook and I share. So Mark, I am 1 day older than you, and that's it, just a day, because we'll be the same age. Well, I'll turn that age tomorrow, so I'll become 56 tomorrow, and you become 56 on Wednesday. So fantastic, fair play. So you're a fellow Leo like me, then, Mark. Today, a big shout out. Today is Julie Seaver's Tottenham mum, Colin's mum's birthday today. So big shout out to Julie. It's her birthday today as well. We seem to have a lot of people in the community because Jimbo's birthday was a week or so ago. We seem to have a lot of people in the Tottenham community, in this community, that seem to have their birthdays now in July. So interesting. Scott Colin was saying, any idea where Rabiot is going to end up? I haven't got a clue, and I haven't got a clue, mate. Because as I said, the ITKs, they're not saying much about Rabiot, are they? Rabiot's a free. He's on a free at the moment, so Rabiot can speak to absolutely anyone he wants. But with Rabiot, usually in the past, I don't know whether he's learnt now because he's got a bit older. But in the past, Rabiot has believed. See, I think Rabiot's a good player, But Rabiot is like a Zlatan Ibrahimovic, although Ibrahimovic could back it up a lot of the time as well. Is that they're self-serving and they've got their own ideas of what their worth is and what they are and what their values would be to teams. And in the past, I think he's priced himself out of moves because of his entourage saying, yeah, he deserves to be on 500 grand a week or whatever, stupidity it was before. I don't know whether he's learnt from that. And if he hasn't, then there's not many teams in the world that pay that kind of money now. In fact, I keep saying salaries and transfer fees will keep coming down. We're not going to have the boom that we had, um, you know, 5, 10, 15 years ago. That's gone. The money's not there anymore. So if you're going to foreign clubs, they ain't going to pay you much because they're skint. They're on the floor, foreign clubs. So I really don't know and have got no idea at all. I think it's a bit of a you've got to meet somewhere along with Rabiot, and he's got to do some meeting as well. Some compromise in there because there's teams out there that just can't afford him. And if he priced himself out, then he could not be going anywhere. You look at someone like David De Gea. David De Gea was released by Man United last season, the end of last season, not this season just gone, last season. He's been out of football for a year. And he's now 33, which is quite young for a keeper, 33. And now I think he's lowered his expectations with salaries and stuff like that. And he may get his opportunity to come back into playing football now, but he's had a year out. So I know they get paid lots of money. He could probably afford to be out of football for a year, but it just shows that some people price themselves out of moves. So we'll have to wait and see. But no, I can't answer that, Scott. I haven't got any clue where Rabiot is going at the moment. Mark Cook says Leo's rule, Jose. And Cockney Johnny Rascal says, morning, Jose. Under a car listening, bro. It's sweating. Like I did say that at the start of the stream, Johnny. I said that, here, unlike in Spain, when I'm in Spain, it can be hotter than this, but I don't get sweaty or flustered or anything at all because you've got a bit of it's a different air, isn't it? Here in England, you get bloody humid and sweaty all the time. So I just say to people, watch out for today and tomorrow, because tomorrow's going to be even hotter in the country tomorrow. Just keep hydrated, man. Keep hydrated. Stay out of the sun in the sense of if you're going to stay in the sun, wear a hat. Make sure you got the creams on. Keep hydrated and stuff like that, and just keep yourself healthy. And that last thing you need is a mishap in this heat. So, without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot off, enjoy the rest of my day. I hope there's some Tottenham news and stuff like that, so I can bring it tomorrow to the show for my birthday stream. So once more, last plug for this is online predictions. The link and the code are in the chat for the online predictions. It's self-serving. The link for the Fantasy Football League is in the chat, and there's a code. But both of these are both on the community page as well. You're more than welcome to go onto it. I've given tutorials to people, and I will continue to give tutorials because at the end of the day, you want this to grow. You want this so you can measure up against everybody. So at the moment, I've got Carl Simpson, Chris Peters, Colin Sievers, Dan Coys, or Danny, as you know him, Dan Coys, Donna Cullen, Graham, who's Spurs GCTV, Jamie Imber, Johnny Sanchez, Joris, myself, Kells, Coover, Lee Smithy Smith, Rob Belcher, Ronnie, Scott Colliver, and Scott M. All are in the online predictions. It's fun. We all know each other. It's the community joust throughout the season. So it's good to join it. And then with the fantasy football, we have an even bigger list. You've got Robbie Clark, Kev Clark, Johnny Sanchez, Rob Belcher, Adrian Chia, Brendan Tull, Lisa Garcia, me, Joris Valters, Graham Clatterbuck, Chris Peters, Graham Dunn, Jamie Imber, Ian Greenwood, Ronnie Smith, Colin Sievers, James Corley, Carl Simpson, Scott M, Nathan Pye, and Scott Colliver. So yeah, it's just trying to grow this. We've got more people joining, and I hope everybody is able to join. Stay clear of the sun. Look after yourselves, everyone. Can I then thank also as well Chan for his super chat earlier? And with that, I'm going to say to everyone, be good to each other, enjoy yourselves, and what we'll do is we shall see you tomorrow if you want to join those. All right, everyone. All right, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in today. Hopefully, some of you will go away, and if you're watching on playback, please come back and join these competitions. The more, the merrier. In Ange we trust. Come on, the mighty Spurs.